Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Storyist. Oftentimes, we do kind things to others, not because we want something in return. Mostly, we just really want to help. But every act of kindness creates an endless ripple, and every effort to do good comes back to you eventually. Today, I will be sharing with you a story about a girl who just learned this wonderful lesson in life when a man attacked her in the dark. Little did the attacker know that she was actually not alone. Stay until the end of the video to find out what exactly happened. Lauren is a very intelligent college student. Ever since she entered school, she always gets straight A's in her report card. Because of this, she has collected tons of trophies and medals already, and she even received a full scholarship in her current university. This scholarship is a pretty big deal for Lauren, because she is not rich at all. In fact, she used to be an orphan. She was abandoned by both of her parents when they went to prison, and she got adopted by a pretty average family. But everything was fine with her. She was beyond thankful for her new parents for accepting her, despite her dark past for loving her like their own child. So she studied hard and promised her foster parents that she will be successful someday, and that she will buy them a big house. Today, Lauren is working a side job to earn more for the fees in her school. She does not want to burden her parents with the rent for her apartment or even the money for her school projects. So she is taking a night job in a 24/7 cafe nearby her apartment. Every night, Lauren takes a long walk from her apartment to the cafe where she is working because she doesn't want to take a cab. Taking a cab would only dig holes in her pocket, and taking the bus might prolong the commute, and she has to wait and stand by the heavy traffic. So walking is the best option for her. Lauren walks not on the highways, and she is disturbed by the noise and chaos of the bustling city. So she prefers the avenue and dimly lit streets to walk by. It's a little scary for many, but for Lauren, who has been doing this for years now, the tiny streets are actually a lot more calm than the highway. And apart from this, Lauren has one more reason for preferring to walk on that dark path. 2 years ago, Lauren met a homeless man in this specific street. At that time, she was walking alone and saw a man by the abandoned park, freezing in the darkness. Lauren approached him and asked if he was okay, and the man just nodded and told her not to worry because he was fine. Lauren was surprised that the homeless man did not ask for alms or spare change. He was wrapped in a dirty blanket and was dressed in dirty clothes. He also had a white cup that looked like it had been washed up with mud. It had coins in it. Lauren was heartbroken to see the man's condition, so she left him and said to wait for her to come back. After a short while, Lauren came back with a hot chicken noodle soup and gave it to the freezing man. The homeless man was very thankful for her, and he asked her how he could repay her for the bowl of soup. Lauren just smiled and said, "It's nothing. Just making a new friend is enough." The homeless man smiled at her and took a sip on his soup. Since then, Lauren had always been walking down that same street to meet the homeless man and have a little chat. They would often talk. Lauren would buy some food for the man, and then Lauren would leave for her work. There were also times when the homeless man would buy Lauren a hot bowl of soup instead. Lauren was shocked the first time he did this, and refused to take the bowl. But the homeless man insisted, saying that he would feel bad if he couldn't even buy his friend a soup. This strengthened their friendship even more, making Lauren believe that the man was not just befriending her for food, because he really liked her. So Lauren has been walking the same street for 2 years now, and never has there been a night that the homeless man was not there. During the day, the man walks to the outer part of the city and begs for alms. Sometimes he takes construction jobs from friends. Other times he helps carry bags at the port. But every night he goes back to the abandoned park where Lauren first met him. He considers the park his home, So that is the place where he sleeps and talks to his friend. One evening, Lauren is walking home from the 24-hour coffee shop she is working in. It is now 3 o'clock after midnight, and the sun is 2 hours away from rising. It is very dark and quiet, and all Lauren can hear are the flapping of wings of the birds occasionally flying here and there. Her homeless friend must be asleep by now. Every time she walks past the street and chats up with him, it is usually before her shift. Because by the time her shift is done, her friend is also fast asleep. She doesn't bother waking him up as well, so she just walks past the park. That specific night, Lauren is walking like it's a very normal night. But what she did not see coming is the danger that has been hiding in the dark the moment she stepped outside of the coffee shop. Turns out, a man had seen her in the coffee shop a week before and liked her appearance so much. However, he knew he would not be able to get her, so he decided to follow her path every night since the first time he saw her at the coffee shop. He memorized her way home, so he decided on that night that he would finally attack her in the darkest alley. So he hid behind the shadow of a huge house and waited at exactly 3 in the morning to attack poor Lauren. Lauren is walking silently when she hears an ominous rattle behind her. At that very moment, she feels something bad is about to happen, but she tells herself to stop being paranoid, that it might be just a dog, and to just go on with her usual routine. As she takes another step, she hears another rattle. This alerts her, and she turns around to see what it is. But when she looks back, a huge man in a black coat and cap is standing in front of her. Lauren tries to run for it, but the man is very quick to grab her elbow. He grabs her closer to her and starts to drag her in the opposite direction. Lauren is crying, but she cannot scream as the man holding her is covering her mouth with his large gloved hands. Everything is silent, and all Lauren can hear are her muffled screams and the fast and loud beating of her heart. After a few streets, someone hits the huge man from behind with a big and heavy branch of a tree. The man collapses to the ground and passes out. Lauren looks at her savior, and even under the dim light of the moon, she recognizes him as her homeless friend. She hugs him and thanks him for saving her life, but the man said, "Hot bowls of soup are more than enough." The two immediately rush out of the scene before the man even wakes up, and Lauren takes the homeless man with her home. The homeless man is shy to enter her house at first because of his dirty clothes, but Lauren insists and lets him wash himself in the bathroom. When the man comes out, he is actually a good-looking man, and his long hair made him look more decent now than homeless. And turns out he is just about 7 years older than her. The two share a nice dinner that night and talk about the big man who attacked Lauren. Then after a while, Lauren thinks of an idea that will help them both. "Why don't you come and stay with me here? I'll help you find a job until you can stay alone again," Lauren asks. The man is surprised and excited about the idea, and he gladly accepts. Since that night, Lauren never walked another night alone in that street. She always has her friend to accompany her to work, and he fetches her at 3 in the morning so they can both go back to their home. Eventually, the homeless man found a long-term job at a construction company, and now he lives with Lauren at a home that they are both renting. Soon enough, the two decided to move their friendship to another level, and they fell in love with each other. That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed that video, and we'll see you in the next.